Good morning, everybody.
Good
For those
morning.
of you that don't know me, I'm Joey Towell with the Center. The Center has many missions, and one of them is to always be there for our community. As many of you know, throughout the pandemic, the Center has been here with our doors open to help COVID testing, to be a bug drive site. We even offered to turn our gyms into makeshift hospitals, and we were in the process of ordering ventilators. Our early childhood program not only managed to stay open throughout the pandemic, but we helped other community schools get their doors open as well. At one point, we offered space in our building for another school to join us because they were not allowed to open their doors. There are always challenges in life, and the Center is here to meet them. Speaking of challenges, today I am so honored to be introducing you to a program that really stands out as a life success story. To me, I'm really introducing you to two life success stories. The story of Roei, which you all came to hear today, is so much more than a story of the success in wheelchair basketball. It's a story of success in life. We have all heard stories of people being injured in war and their perils afterward, all kinds of mental and physical issues that understandably depress them and their families. The story of Roei stands out because he used his mind to create a life anyone would be proud of. I won't tell you the whole story. I'll leave that to a second life success story, Jesse Sutton, who has for so many years been a very special community-minded person. My introduction and knowledge of Jesse was first as a great athlete who I was lucky to play ball with many times, and then as a businessman who I've had the honor to discuss business with, and also as a Talmid Hacham, a great scholar, where again, I was fortunate to hear his classes. Throughout his life, Jesse has been engaged in community organizations. As a young adult, Jesse was president of SPH Youth. He was a member of Flatbush Hatzalah. I think he treated me for a head injury once. My family still blames him. Just kidding. He is currently a board member of Reach for the Stars, the School for Autism, and of course, a board member of the SCA. A big thank you goes out to the SCA for partnering with us on this event. I am honored to introduce Jesse to conduct the interview with Roei. Before I do that, I would be remiss if I didn't thank two very special people. Ricky Novick, the Center's own chairman of the board, and Irene Hannon, the chairperson of our Israel department. This department has been bringing us the most amazing programs, and I'm sure this will be another. Okay, Jesse, please take over from here. B'hatzlacha.
Thanks, Joe. That's very, very kind words, very appreciative. And the feeling is very mutual. You've been a personal mentor of mine and on the field and on the in the boardroom and in the community as well. So I very much appreciate your words and very much thank the Center for being a part of this, or really being the leader of this project. And everything that the Center does. We first of all, hi everybody. It's really, really great to be here. I'm so excited about today's program. As a board member of the SCA, I'm proud to represent the SCA in this program. And like I said, I'm really proud to be partnering with the Center on another program to raise awareness about all things amazing about Israel. Today, we will be speaking with Roei BenTolila. Roei will share with us his inspiring journey and achievements in the face of adversity. Afterwards, we will watch a short video clip about it, and then Roei will answer some questions. This program should be under an hour, so let's get started. Acts of kindness never die. They linger in the memory, giving life to other acts in return, says Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, alav shalom, in his book From Optimism to Hope. And King Solomon in Proverbs and Mishlei writes, "Ki sheva yepol sadik v'kam, v'risha'im yikashalu b'ra'ah." Right, a righteous man falls down 7 times and gets up, while the wicked are tripped by one misfortune. Roei BenTolila is a former officer in an elite unit in the IDF. Roei was severely injured during a combat. He remains paralyzed for the rest of his life. In the next hour, Roei will share with us his unbelievable life story. He will demonstrate with us examples from his personal and professional point of view how to turn a crisis into an opportunity. It may seem like a personal story, but this story represents the secret of the Israeli resilience. One for all and all for one. Kol Yisrael Arevim Ze Lazeh. Roei BenTolila has a bachelor's as a BA in social work from Bar Ilan University and his MBA in organizational consulting from the College of Management. He graduated a leadership course at Harvard Business School as well. Today, Roei is the CEO of Roei Leadership Development. He is a mentor, facilitator, and leadership lecturer. Roei helps educational, social, and business leaders work together in order to achieve their goals and bring blessing to their people and their environments. He also works with organizations that specialize in training leaders like Ma'oz and the Mandel Institute. Roei is the founder of the wheelchair basketball team of Bet HaLochem Yerushalayim. And for the past 13 years, he played for the Israeli national team. He is the author of the book, At Heart Level, and he is married to Maya and father of Shira, Alon, Shachar, and Hadar. It is my deepest pleasure and honor to introduce to you today Roei BenTolila. Ma shlomcha, Roei?
Tov, shalom, shalom. Hi, everybody. Very excited to be here today. Good evening from Israel, from Evo Beitar, right near Jerusalem. Shlomi Tov. I'm very excited to be here to see a lot of familiar and faces. It's a pleasure to me to be here, and so let's go on, and I hope to deal with excitement. And so
Before you start, I want to just say that I had the privilege in May of 2019 to spend some time with Roei along with the rest of my family for my son's bar mitzvah, and it was such a wonderful experience for my whole entire family. I highly recommend it for anyone who has the opportunity to go to Eretz Israel. I even got this fantastic basketball signed by Roei, number 4, and we will treasure it, and we are very appreciative of it. So on that note, Roei, please just jump right into things and please share with us your incredible journey.
Okay, אז תודה רבה, Jesse, but you broke our deal. You have to play with the ball, okay? Don't leave it at home.
You got it.
If it will be deleted, so let's meet again at the home court in Bet HaLochem Yerushalayim, and let's play again, okay? Okay, so as I said before, it's a pleasure to me to be here with you today. Very excited to be here. Just a minute, I will open up my slideshow. Just a second. Okay, so a lot of people invited me in the last few years and mostly in the last few months to talk about how to turn a crisis into an opportunity. I think that we all agreed that for a long time we deal with a pandemic. It's not only it also can be a mentalic pandemic for all of us. Many things has changed, and I will speak about my life story, and I hope it will give you insight, practical tools. I will talk about peoples and stories who gave me strength for life. As Jesse said before, I published a book a year ago. Until now, it's only in Hebrew, but I hope it will be translated also to English. And the name of the book is Migova Alev, at Heart Level, because of 2 reasons. First of all, this is a point of view of someone who is sitting on a wheelchair. And the second reason that I talking about a level of feelings and emotions, things that are not usual or not typical for someone who are, like an officer in an elite unit. And the second name of the book is Akrav Shachre Akrav, the battle, the long life battle. And I think that we all deal right now with long life battle. And I hope I can give you from my outlooks, and it will help you. So thank you very much, and let's go on. I want to open up our meeting by unfair question. I know, but I want to invite you to be engaged with complicated and very, very hard story. And I want you to write on chat, please, without, just what is the first thought that come to your mind when you imagine your life on a wheelchair? And let's see what do you think about. So I ask from all of you to write on chat, what do you think about? It can be a hobby that you can do if you will sit on a wheelchair, a place that you can go to, like a synagogue or a basketball court, a man that you likes to be with him and you can't do it anymore because you sit on a wheelchair. So please write on chat your first thought that come to your mind when you imagine your life on a wheelchair. We'll open up with this unfair question, and then I will share with you my life story. Okay, so you can write on chat and we will continue.
Keep in mind that the questions that are going in the chat are going directly to Emily Antoby, who's going to be sharing them with me. So if you don't see your question on the chat, don't worry.
Okay, but can I see it, or you will share the answers with us?
I'll share some comments.
Okay. So if there are already some comments, you can share, and I will open up my life story.
Okay, let's see.
I'm putting them in.
So some comments we have so far is, to the feeling of having to be dependent on others, a sense of personal limitation, not being able to do, some of the simple things that you took for granted.
Wow.
Maybe being personally, seeing somebody said limited, difficult, sad, having an emotional reaction. Someone said, I imagine people would look at me with pity. My life completely changed, probably very restricted. Life slows down. No more beaches and sand between my toes. Wow.
Wow, thank you very much to your honest answers. Someone wrote me direct message. He said also, I would feel hopeless, okay? Hopeless, I think it's a word, because the thing that you just imagined right now for me, it wasn't just an imagination, it was life. I got injured when I was almost 23, when I was an officer in an elite unit. I felt that in a climax in my life, I saved another people's life, and I was, very proud of myself and my actions. And then I got injured. And I love these pictures because this picture symbolized my life at those times. It's in the hospital, Rambam Hospital. I was hospitalized there like 2 weeks, and then I was hospitalized for 6 months in the rehabilitation center. And this is my friends, a good friends of mine. They came and gave me a huge hug, not a physical hug because it was very problematic to do so, but definitely a mental hug. They didn't leave me. Jesse said before, one for all and all for one. This is the first lesson in the Israeli boot camp in the army, and they are like, did this. But as you can see in these pictures, nobody were looking at my eyes. Why? Because probably they were embarrassing. So I was hospitalized for 6 months in the rehabilitation center, and I will have to relearn again how to swim, how to drive, how to do everything, how to find again my independence, how to deal with people that are embarrassing to look at me. And for a long time, I was very, very depressed. In those times, I met a lot of doctors and social workers. By the way, all tried to help me and told me that I can be also a father and also a handicap, also a worker and also disabled. But actually, I didn't believe them. I told myself, what do they really know? They are healthy, and I will never be like them. And 6 months after I got injured, one of the doctor invited me to go with him, to join with him to a place that in many ways changed my output, my outlook about life, which is Bet Elochem. I met a lot of you at Bet Elochem. Bet Elochem, it's one of the most excited places in Israel because it represents the Israeli story. Bet Elochem, it's like country club which is supposed to support the IDF veterans, the IDF wounded soldiers and their families. And this doctor wanted to show me that I can be also to make, like common trip and show me that I can play wheelchair tennis, table tennis, to dance with a wheelchair, to swim, even that I sitting on a wheelchair. But actually, it was a very, very bad tour. Why? Because we stuck at the first station at this tour. I didn't need more than it. It was a wheelchair basketball court. What did I see that touched me so much? I saw people that few of them were like paralyzed like me. Few of them were amputees, but few of them were totally healthy. Why did they play wheelchair basketball? Because it was their only way to play basketball with their father. So without words, through the magic of modeling, I could see that I can be also a father and also a worker, also a father and also disabled. I saw people who turn off their basketball jerseys and turn off their uniforms from work, so I could see that I can be also a worker and also disabled. But more than everything, before I got injured, I served in an elite unit in the Israeli army, and in many ways, the values that those people represent were the same values that I experienced in Maglan, the elite unit I served in. Values like one for all and all for one. In wheelchair basketball, it's not a cliche, it's a way of it's a secret. In order to win, you have to play together. It's a game which based of short passes and team working. As I told to your family, to your community members who visited Bet Elochem, if LeBron James were a wheelchair basketball player, he wasn't such a good player because it's a game which based on your ability to trust your teammates. So this is the first value I saw. So in many ways, this was my experience with people that taught me again the secret of resilience, that life is based on the ability to look at your opportunities and how to turn crises into opportunities. How did they do it, and what was their secret? I will tell you at the in a few minutes. Today, as Jesse said before, I have 4 cute kids. This is the biggest picture is from Shira's bat mitzvah, which was on our garden. And as you can see, they love basketball. They loved wheelchair basketball. And if you will ask my son Aloni, who is like 10 years old, what he wants to be when he will be an adult, his answer is a basketball player, which is, not so surprised when you talk about boy, but if you ask him when it starts to be interesting, he will answer you, it's depend. If it will be in the state, my dream is to play with Stephen Curry in Golden State, which is his most popular basketball player. But if it will be in Israel, my dream is to play with Daddy in the Israeli wheelchair basketball team. So he still have time to think about that. He's only 10. But I think it's represent the identity of children who grow up behind people with disability and struggle every day in order to make it like a meaningful day. And I think that, I learn a lot about leadership. I wrote about leadership. I'm talking a lot about leadership. I facilitator in leadership programs, as Jesse said, but I think that the main school that I learned about leadership wasn't Harvard Business School. It was definitely the wheelchair basketball court. Why? Because in this court, I met a lot of players that all of them had a good, the many reasons to tell himself why my life is like over a few years or month ago and live according to their excuses, but they lived according to their dreams. And I had a dream to become one of them. So I try to imitate them and to saw them as a modeling and as a mentors. And I became a wheelchair basketball player. I established the wheelchair basketball team of Bet Lochem Yerushalayim and started to play in the Israeli wheelchair basketball team. I played already like 6 European championship, and this is my integral part of my family, my life, and my identity. So that's what I did, what I do today, what I'm doing today. By the way, unfortunately, since the pandemic has started, I didn't meet people in Bet Lochem, so I miss those types of meetings to play with people who like wheelchair basketball and to feel very close in such a short time. So I hope to see you as fast as we can in Bet Lochem again. So now I'll tell you how did it happen to me. And before I will start, I want to say that when I was hospitalized in Tel HaShomer, I understood, I saw various of injuries. I saw people with what we called in our cynic language as wounded soldiers, light injury, people like they broke their legs or something, but in their emotions, in their feelings, her life like won't be good again. And I saw people who are like quadriplegic, who wins every obstacle that met in their life. And I asked myself, what differentiates between those people and those people? And I found that a man is many ways like a tree. What matters is not the size of the branches, but the depth of the root. I think that if you know why you do what you do, if you connect to your roots, so you can do everything and nothing can break you. Any storm can break you, it can break your branches, but it can't deal with a big issue. And why I tell that? Because before I will start my life story, I have to thank to my family, to my parents who gave me the skills and the ability to deal with the obstacle that I met with. And what are the obstacles that I met with? So I will tell you in the last between 5 and 10 minutes my life story, and then I will show you a short video clip. And I invite you all over the video clip to ask me at chat whatever you want. I here in order to give you, give you skills to go on to continue to deal with obstacles. So please ask me whatever you want. So I start my life story and then I will pass the ball for you. Unfortunately, this time it will be metaphorically, but I hope to do it as soon as possible at real life. I grew up in a place which called kibbutz. Kibbutz, it's, by the way, when I was in the Halabi community in Brooklyn, I told Ricky that it's reminding me of kibbutz. The system of chesed and tzedakah and the way you take care for each other and the inside economic, it's in many ways, even though that you're American, it's reminding me the kibbutz atmosphere. I remember then when I was at Ricky's home, one of the most excited experience I had that Ricky told me, Roei, let's go to a Shiva, to someone from your community who lost one of his family members. And it was very excited me that, he gave me a chance to be a part of something that, bigger than me. And I can't do anything but to be there with them, which is, I think, one of the most excited experience I had in Brooklyn in your community. So I grew up in the kibbutz. Kibbutz, it's like a bubble because, I worked at the fields and they educate us not to success at work because they wanted us to be a farmer, to stay at the kibbutz. And I was very curious about the world outside, and I made the decision when I finished my school to go to a place which called Mechina Kdam Tzvait. Mechina Kdam Tzvait, it's very popular in Israel. It's like a pre-military program, which is supposed to prepare you to the army. And I had a very, very special year over there. I want to tell you about only one experience. I met people that few of them are still my best friends. And one of them, his name was Danny. Please remember his name and his face. At the right picture, this is Danny. Danny, one of my best friends in the pre-military program. And when he finished the army, Danny joined to the Air Force and he became a pilot of a helicopter. I joined to Maglan unit, as you can see as the left side of the screen. I served in Maglan unit in very, very hard times in Israel, which is a period called the Second Intifada. This picture, which symbolized more than everything in those hard times, it's the burned buses, like terrorists would just bomb themselves, made a suicide attack in our cities, and our main missions and Maglan in this elite unit warriors was to arrest all of those terrorists, not while they're like walking in our streets, but when they're still in their homes. We did a lot of arrest operations. It's like operation that you have to sneak into the darkness and stop the terrorist when he's in his bed or is in home plan, he's to do bad things. I served in Maglan unit almost 4 years as an officer, as a warrior, and then as an officer. And I led the last mission that I led. There was no clue that my life gonna change. We had a mission to arrest a terrorist in refugees camp in Jenin, a Palestinian city, someone who planned to do terror attacks. I was a commander of these forces. We surrounded the terrorist house and then someone will start shootings. I didn't appreciate that those are like direct shootings, but I saw that those are peripheral shootings, and that's what I told to my soldiers. But unfortunately, another soldier from another unit made a huge mistake and recognized me as a terrorist that we were looking for. He assumed that those are direct shootings, and this soldier made a huge mistake, recognized me as a soldier, the terrorist that we were looking for, and this soldier shot me 34 bullets from my 5 meters. He hurt my spinal cord, that's why I stayed paralyzed until today. But at those times, the question wasn't if I will be paralyzed or not, the question was if I will stay alive. Nir, remember this name, was a doctor of Maglan unit, saw my get to the field and saw my eyes and understood that this is a bad situation. And Nir made 2 unauthorized decisions. Before the mission, the commander of the whole mission told him only 2 things. First of all, you are not allowed to invite helicopter in any case because this is very, very a complicated urbanic area and we don't want to sacrifice helicopter. And the second thing, you are not take care for wounded soldier in the middle of this complicated area. Even if someone got injured, you are taking to safety place and then you will start to take care for him. Nir take 2 decisions that in many ways saved my life. First of all, he ordered a helicopter and he told to the main commander of the whole mission, if we want Roei to stay alive, we have to invite as fast as we can a helicopter. And the second thing that he did, that he wasn't unauthorized to do so, was start to try to save my life. The main commander was in shock, and because he was in shock, he invited a helicopter in order to save my life. But the second thing that Nir announced him, that 5 minutes after Nir started to save my life, Nir tried to hurt my heartbeats and he didn't hear nothing. So he told to the main commander of the whole mission the next words. He told him, Roei is probably not alive anymore. The main commander of the whole mission called to the helicopter pilots and told them the next words, you can go back to your base. The wounded soldier is not alive, is probably not alive anymore, but what is probably? Probably not for sure, right? So Nir did everything in order to save my life for 25 minutes. He did very, very complicated surgery in order to save my life. And Nir was in shock because 25 after he tried to save my life, 25 minutes, Nir saw helicopter at the horizon. Nir was in shock because he saw that they canceled the helicopter because he announced that the wooden fab soldier is probably not alive anymore. And then, so my life, I got saved thanks to Nir, who got, by the way, Medal of Honor, but not only thanks to him, thanks to another 3 people that made another unauthorized decision in order to save my life. The first one was a doctor of the rescue unit. It's called 669. It's also an elite unit of the Air Force. His name is Mickey, Dr. Mickey Halbertal. Today he's a manager of Rambam Hospital. Today he lead the war against the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic in Rambam Hospital that I was hospitalized in. The second one is a successful lawyer today, a guy named Elad Rothberg. He was a pilot in the Air Force. But the third one, from the guys that saved my life, it was Danny. Danny was, as I remind you, he was one of my best friends. He didn't know that he just saved one of his best friend's life. What Danny knew is that he has an opportunity to save another people's life. As I told you before, we educated for Kol Israel Arabim Ze Lazeh. We educated for us. It's the first lesson at boot camp. It's not only at Kishayeh, it's way of life that one for all for one. And specific for Danny, it was a way of life. Danny had the whole reasons to go back to his base because the main commander told him Roei is probably not alive anymore. But Danny and his teammates made 2 decisions and land a helicopter in unauthorized place and save my life. As you can see, I'm very excited to talk about Danny because the same values that caused Danny to sacrifice his life in order to save my life, to sacrifice himself 2 years after I got injured in May 2004. 2 years after, it was May 2006, the second Lebanese war. Danny landed paratroops in Lebanon. And when he tried to come back to Israel, an anti-helicopter missiles of Hezbollah hit Danny's helicopter, and Danny's and his 5 teammates passed away. Daniel Gomez, one of my best friends. And why do I tell you that? I sacrificed such an emotional story in order to support my message about how to turn crisis into opportunity. Because I want to tell you that after Danny saved my life, I had only one, or in English, it's 2 words to tell him, and it was the word thanks, thank you. I never thanks to the guy who saved my life. Why I never thanks him? Not because I didn't want to. I wanted to, but I told myself I will find the right way to do it. And when Danny passed away, so surprisingly, I took a decision that in many ways changed my outlook about life, which is when you have something to thank about, don't wait to the right moment, but create it because we can never know what's going to happen tomorrow. And as I told you, to thanks, if I go back to the wheelchair basketball players, I think that one of the most skilled that they are thankful people. As I told you before, they had a lot of reasons to live their life according to excuses, but because they're thankful people, which is one of the most, important values in the Judaism to thanks. It is the first step every morning, right? So they can go on, they continue, and they can turn every crisis into opportunity. I believe that if you're thankful for what you experience, you can go on and turn every crisis into an opportunity. So I want to break my words and take, like a long breath and show you a short video clip. But before I will go on, I want to tell you that today, me and Maya has 4 kids. I told you about Shira. The picture was from her bat mitzvah. She is almost 14. The second one, this is Aloni. He is a wheelchair basketball player, and the basketball player. The fourth one, this is Adari. She is a young and curly girl. But our third son, his name is Shachar Daniel. Why did we call him Shachar Daniel? Daniel, because this is our way to remember Daniel. And why did we call him Shachar? Shachar in Hebrew, it's like a dawn. And there is a famous Israeli song which say that always the darkness the darkness moment at night, it's right before the dawn. תמיד הכי חשוך לפני עלות השחר.
מה יכול כבר להיות?
Can you hear the sound?
אהבה אחת פחות בעולם, ועם הזמן...
השבוע הרבה ספורטאים על המגרשים השונים בכדורגל ובכדורסל. מעולם לא ראינו שחקנים כל כך בריאים כמו השחקנים שהיו כאן הערב. בריאים בנפשם, בריאים ברוחם, בריאים ברצון שלהם, הבלתי מתפשר
to tell you that this guy was Ruby Rivlin, the president of Israel, in his first time that he met in a wheelchair basketball game that we organized. 3,000 people that came, and he said, "So this week a lot of athletes, but we never saw such healthy people that are healthy in their mind, healthy in their ability to win." And according to his word, that is the exact experience that I had when I saw them the first time 6 months after I got injured. Let's see another few pictures from my life.
זה לזה, כמו חיילים, אם נשאר חלום, מה יכול כבר להיות? אהבה אחת פחות בעולם, אבל הפעם בואי, לא ניתן לזה לקרות.
Look at this picture from our wedding, and look, there is a very, very weird things over here. We'll talk about this later.
I believe that every person have his own disabilities, and the question if you can live with it.
שאהבה שכזאת שוב לא נפגוש כל החיים. אם נשאר חלום, מה יכול כבר להיות? אהבה אחת פחות בעולם, אבל הפעם בואי, לא ניתן לזה לקרות. על אהבה שכזאת לא מוותרים, לא מוותרים. בואי, כי כל כך פשוט לראות שאהבה שכזאת שוב לא נפגוש כל החיים.
So I would like to stop right now my formal words and pass the ball, as I told before, as I promised, to Jesse and to the Q&A part. And I would like to ask you, as I asked you before, please ask me whatever you want. Jesse, will you ask the questions?
Yes.
Okay, and I think we can start up if you already have questions, and then we can go on and continue.
Yes. So what I'll do is I'll start reading off some questions, and then we'll finish this off. I have something to say after having seen that and heard what you just said. It's the level of inspiration I think you've already given us is something that's impossible to have words for, but there are some things I wanted to be able to share. Okay, so on the questions. Okay, first of all, just as a comment, right? Marlene Asher says, God bless you for the strength and courage. May you continue to inspire the whole world with your positive attitude, from Marlene Asher.
תודה רבה.
So question from Emily Antaby. How was the IDF in helping you recover from your injury? Did they help you when you were out of the hospital and the rehab center?
Okay, they support me. They support me also, by, it's like an insurance every month, and they support me. They support Bet HaLochem, so I take part in their activities, so they support me. In many ways, in Israel, it's a big subject, the way the country can take care to the soldiers, because of few reasons. First of all, the biggest story, the story of the Arvut Hadadit, one for all and all for one. People expect that it's an integral part for the ethos to support the IDF veterans and to take care to the rest of their life. I have, it's for me, it's easier because I'm sitting on a wheelchair. Everybody can see my obstacles or can appreciate what I deal with, so it's in many ways it's easier because the country support me and they give me whatever I need.
Excellent. Ed, someone asked, how has your spouse helped you through this? How has your wife helped you through this, and when and how did you meet?
Wow, that is an amazing story because when you imagine you share the thought that you imagined about the first thought about life with a wheelchair. So I can tell you that for me, one of the first thoughts that I experienced was about my girlfriend at those times. We were together like, I think I will stop share so I can see more of you, more faces, right? We were almost 2 years together, and we had a good relationship according to the fact that we were both busy soldiers at very, very hard times. And our first intimate meeting was 2 weeks after I got injured. The day before, we moved together to the rehabilitation center. And I looked at her eyes and I told her, listen, I love you. But you have to remember that you made the decision to date with someone who is healthy, not with somebody who is disabled, with someone with it's a big honor to walk with him the street, not with someone which is a big problem or it's like embarrassing to someone who needs help in the street, to someone who has a lot of meaningful and contribute other people in their life, not with someone that needs help all over his life. And I told them, I love you so much. That's why I ask you to leave me and restart your life and live the good life as good as you can. And then she looked at me and gave me one of the most biggest lessons in my life. She looked at me and she told me, Roei, I never dated with you because what you are, but because who you are. What's the difference between what you are and who you are? What you are, it's your image, right? It's like your status. It's like the fact that you are like religious, ultra-Orthodox, Sephardic, whatever, tough guy, nice guy, whatever, right? But what is who you are? Who you are, it's your values and your ability to accept yourself, not because what other people thinking about you and talking about you, but your ability to accept yourself by yourself. And it gave me a lot of like motivation to go on to continue. By the way, when I found out when I get to the rehabilitation center, I found out that the question what I'm gonna do with my girlfriend, it was an integral part of a lot of wounded soldiers at that time, and all of them, every one of them had a different like answer to these questions. I had a roommate who told his girlfriend, I want to leave you because I want someone who knows me when I'm sitting on a wheelchair, and we will start up there. And today he married to a different like girlfriend. We had another soldier that his girlfriend told to him, listen, you're not the same person that I dated with. That's why I will leave you. Very hard to hear that, but you are really not the same person. Something had changed. And I met someone that had a confidence and belief to stay with me. And Maya, who were my girlfriend at those time, we stayed together and we married for like almost 15 years. And we have 4 cute friends and we love each other. And I promised to talk about a weird thing in the chuppah in our wedding, but I told you at the end of our meeting, I will summarize by this example, okay? And so let's go on to another questions.
Okay, Eshet Hayel Miyam Sab.
Definitely אשת חיל. אתה
June
רוצה לבוא
Rudy,
להגיד שלום? This is Shachar, as I told you, Shachar Daniel. Here it's like they wait already for dinner. Okay, it's like it's late, but he's a tough guy. He just asked me one for all for one if he can make a waffle for the rest of the family who still didn't hear. So I encourage him to do so. It gives me time to be with you, and it gives him a reason to be for others.
Great. From June Rudy, at your darkest and most depressed moments, what did you tell yourself? How did you go on?
Honestly, at the beginning, I didn't know. A battle in the army, it's only sometimes it can be 15 seconds battle, like shootings, and it takes like few more minutes to understand what's going on. And battle, when you sit on a wheelchair, it's long life battle, and it takes time to understand that you have to deal with like a quick and short wins, right? You don't have a vision. I didn't have an ability to look forward 5 years and imagine my life. I had only ability to look forward few months and imagine a game in Jerusalem in front of 3,000 people, as you just saw, with the president of Israel and people who paid money that we contributed to an NGO that take care for another children, for disabled children. But it gave me, I could imagine only few weeks and then few months, and only like few years after I can imagine like imagine like how my life gonna looks like in 4 or 5 years.
Okay, one or two more questions. There's a lot of questions, but in the interest of time and your dinner and your waffles that are waiting for you, we're gonna cut it to one or two more questions. Someone asked the question is, how did you deal? Actually, a few people asked a similar question. This is one's from Rachel Novick. How did you deal with the other soldier that hurt you?
Wow, this is amazing question. I think that what differentiate between winners and losers, it's the story that they brave to enough to adopt. And at the beginning of my life on a wheelchair, I adopt a story of a victim. I thought a lot about him, and I couldn't stop thinking about what the hell is he thought, why he didn't wait a second, not a minute, a second, and check out what's going on over there. And one of the most Israelis moments that I experienced was 6 weeks after I got injured. This guy who, according to my narrative at those time, ruined my life, came to visit me at the hospital. I was lying in the bed, okay, and in those moments, I had a big conflict in my mind. In one hand, I told myself, tell him that he ruined my life. It will help you. It's like ventilate, right? It helps you at the short term. But at the other hand, if there's something that I thank God for, it's the fact that he gave me an ability to tell him the next word. I made a decision to look at him and I told him, I forgive you and I ask you to restart your life and good your life and live your life as good as you can. Why did I do it? You asked me before about the support. How does a country support the IDF wounded soldiers? So as I told you, the PTSDs are the worst cases because you can't see their injury, right? It's invisible injury. So first of all, I thank God that he gave me an ability because he couldn't make the decision to change the future, but I could take a decision if I want to hurt another IDF soldier. And I thank God that he gave me the ability to do so because, if I was angry on him, I could definitely ruin the rest of his life. And he's not a robber, he's not a thief, he's an IDF soldier who sacrificed himself and made that mistake, right? But who sacrificed himself in order to protect us, right? The other Jewish people. But in those times, I wasn't like able to think about him. I was very concentrated about my mind. And I thank God that he gave me the ability to forgive him because, I wrote a lot about this and also in my book. I believe that when you forgive to somebody else, you first of all forgive to yourself. I think that if I wouldn't forgive him to the rest of my life, I could easily adopt a narrative of a victim. Every obstacle that I will meet with him, I would easily, I can easily say why I can't concentrate because my back is so pain because I sit already like 5 or 6 hours, right? But because I forgive him, I feel that I like free to look at the forward, to look at the future and to continue. By the way, if I come back to the wheelchair basketball player, so I told you about their ability to not live according to their excuses. This is the same. They are forgivers. They are people who are not talking, has an inside story about I'm sitting on a bench because the coach is a bad guy. They have an inside story of winners. They are forgivers. They are say why I can't play right now because I didn't train shoot enough. I didn't had a good training in the last few weeks. This is a narrative of people who can deal with every crisis. And the forgiveness is the biggest gift that I could ever get from God.
Wow. I think, Roei, we're gonna stop the questions now. I want to share one thought and say, first of all, say just thank you. Thank you for your time, for your inspiration, and for your openness. Everything you talk about really requires you to be really vulnerable, and we all appreciate it. I speak on behalf of everyone that we all appreciate it more than you could possibly understand. I also want to say that and I'll incorporate a little bit of what you brought up earlier. There's a famous there's a Mizmor of Tehillim that we say, and it actually is connected to Purim, that starts with Lamnatseach al Ayelet Hashachar, right? And it's to the coming of the dawn, and the coming and the our rabbis say that when we talk about the coming of the dawn, it means the coming of a time of the end of miracles. And what they mean is the end of miracles that are open miracles, that are clear miracles that we saw in Yetziat Mitzrayim. But during Megillat Esther and the story of Purim, we don't see open miracles in the sense where God comes down, so to speak, and does something specific. And I have to tell you that the story that you lived your life, your journey, your lifelong journey, to all of us is a miracle, and I think you are a miracle, and we are all the better for it. For the last hour or so that we spent on this, we are all the better as human beings. We are proud to call ourselves a member of Klal Yisrael that you are a part of, and we appreciate everything that you have done for us, both everything in your life, but plus for today. On that note, I feel free to. I just again want to thank the center and the SEA for putting this together. It's wonderful seeing you again. Be'ezrat Hashem, we should see each other in person and be able to give each other hugs. It has been a very tough time and a very tough year, and I hope to get on the basketball court with you again. Please feel free to end this with the short story you wanted to share. And again, thank you all, everyone on this, for coming today.
Wow. So first of all, I thought that I will be excited at the beginning and it will we'll move on, but I'm still excited. I want to say a few words in order to summarize our meeting. When when you saw the pictures of me and Maya's wedding, and as you could see, she broke the glass, which is symbolized our relationship. I couldn't do so because in our wedding, I stand up again by help that I got from the physiotherapist that helped me to stabilize myself with spatial crutches. And when I stand up, I had another phase of my dream. It was to play and to sing in our chuppah, and I sang a song which called מודה אני על הטובה והרעה והטובה שעשית עמדי ועם ביתי. It's like to the bad thing, the good thing, the good thing, the bad thing, and the good thing that you did with me and my people. And I think that thankful, it's the biggest base in order to change a state of mind. And we are like opening Purim celebrations, and Purim, it's like the Chag, which symbolizes V'nafochu, to switch the situation. And I would like to say two words for you. First of all, to thank you very much for inviting me, and to wish you that V'nafochu, this hard and it's not an easy times, it's complicated times, but I want to turn you to wish you to Nafochu, to turn the crisis together, one for all and all for one, into an opportunity. As Toda Rabba, and wish you to meet again. We can do it at Brooklyn, Ricky, right? But we can do it also in the wheelchair basketball court. It doesn't matter, but face-to-face meeting. This is the most important thing.
Roei, thank you. Thank you again. We appreciate it. Irene or Joey, you want to say some last words on behalf of the center, or are we signing off?
We could sign off. It was beautiful, and the recording will be on the SCA and the center YouTube by tomorrow. Thank you both, Jesse and Roei, and to everyone who helped. It was great. Unbelievable. Bye, everybody.
And Purim Sameach to everybody.
Toda Rabba, Purim Sameach, Chag Sameach.
Thank you, Novik.